So, you guys remember Wilbur, right? Wilbur, he's at this point had a few accusations, I think, but it started with Shelby. Shelby accused him of biting, and more specifically than biting, accused him of biting to the point where she said the safe word that means stop, and then continuing. She also talked about how he's dirty, has a stink, doesn't wash, lets ants live in his house, and says that's just normal in Britain, which to be fair it is, of course, although it's meant to be termites. And, everyone just accepted what she said. Wilbur is the worst person in the world, even though it's mostly just airing dirty laundry and telling everyone that he sucks in a relationship and is a dirty freak, more than any actual wrongdoing. People flew to her defense. He's terrible. He posted his defense of himself, and people jumped on that to tell him that he is terrible. Yes, Wilbur as in from Soot House. Including an individual who goes by Punz. Punz, in response to Wilbur defending himself, said, "Saying you've been through therapy and are growing does not equal taking accountability. Downplaying your actions and discrediting the person you hurt. Shameful. Shameful," says Punz, discrediting a person you hurt. You should never do that. Punz has been accused of, I believe, multiple things over on Tumblr by a lady called Andy. She's talked about him before, nicknaming him One, but I'm not going to read that because I imagine it's not too important, because this is going to go into some explicit detail while naming him. At least I think it's while naming him. Yes, it is naming him. With Luke. My experience with Luke. Punz. Luke is another, or Punz is another Minecraft lord. They all seem to be catching those accusations. Like I said before, it's almost like a TikTok challenge. Accuse a Minecraft YouTuber. Content warning. Toxic relationship. Racism. Let's go. Dubious consent. Talking about dubious consent regarding yourself? You know whether you consented or not, though. Unless she's going to talk about witnessing an experience where she's unsure. There's this thing where people talk about themselves either explicitly in third person, talking about their own experiences in third person in a really weird way. Happens a lot. Unfortunately. I'm going to have to do a lot of reading. I know in the past, I said that I would no longer speak about him publicly. And when talking about my experiences with abuse and emotional mistreatment, I begged to keep it anonymous. But after reflecting on this for a week... Wait, begged to keep it anonymous? Begged who? Like your headmate? Who would you have to beg? But after reflecting on this for a week, and seeing so many incredibly smart and strong women tell their stories, they have given me the strength to say his name. Trayvon Martin! No, this is really scary to talk about because of the copious levels of harassment I have received from his fans in the past. So if this spreads or get out of hand, I will simply log off. Nice! Good move. Good move. If you read my last post, or if you read my last post, I nicknamed him One. We're not going to bother with that for now, but we may if it seems like it will be worthwhile. So aside from everything I said there were a lot of things I didn't include because they would have made it obvious that it was him, and it could potentially backfire on me. So, describing it as backfiring. What a strange choice of word. Did I go over Katie Bugs already? I did. I'm very afraid to post this. But I'm going to do it scared anyway, because it's not fair that he gets to just go and live his life worry-free, as if he didn't practically ruin mine. Now, in the other accusation, the other accusation from Katie Bugs, the life-ruining act, was putting his hand under her shirt on her waist and moving his hand up towards her breast. That was a life-ruining action there. Let's see what's life-ruining to this person. Because I already made a very lengthy post about him, I won't include everything I said last time to avoid being redundant, but if I repeat myself, please bear with me. I'm assuming the meat will be in this one. In our year-long relationship, I had to endure emotional neglect, gaslighting, verbal abuse, one instance where there was dubious consent, and much more. But you know whether you consented or not. I don't know, man. Seems strange. Starting off at the beginning of our relationship, that's when I was getting copious amounts of hate and harassment from his fan base. Warranted or not, he decided that our relationship must be kept private. Why would you... I was being harassed. Maybe I deserved it. For what? What is... He decided that our relationship must be kept private. Did people know about it, or... Oh my god. He said it was to, quote, protect me from his fan base, when in reality it was to protect himself. But you were being attacked by them, so... It was so he wouldn't get all the backlash I was getting. This is funny, because one of the things I got called out for was saying the B slur. Derogatory term used against Mexicans/Latinos. Right, so people were going off at her for using slurs. And then he's like, we keep it private. I don't want to get harassed for dating a racist. Let's go. No, don't fucking say it. Don't say it. It's not allowed in Twitch chat. Okay, probably. I don't know. I won't get into the nuances of it. Of if I could say it or not as a Puerto Rican. Fuck me. Because that's discourse that does not pertain to this specific situation. The B slur is being but with a hard R. Okay? But you know who definitely can't say it? A white boy from Massachusetts. When I was getting cancelled for this and getting thousands of tweets calling me names, he decided that was the perfect time to say, I mean, you are a bean person, aren't you? My little bean person. Now, he said it's completely unprompted. I was in the process of writing my apology, and he just said that. I tell you this because I immediately shut him down and told him that there was no universe in which it was okay for him to say that word, and especially not one where he could just call me that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dementoids all the way but down. I was hoping for one non-insane accusation. While I was reprimanding him, he was smiling and laughing. He apparently found it amusing to call me a slur. It's your boyfriend saying you can say it, right? And saying the word. I don't know. Maybe he thought you wouldn't be a IRL, real-life fucking Janny in your relationship. He apparently found it amusing to call me a slur. To be fair, it is really, really funny. Regardless, he gave me a half-assed apology and said he wouldn't do it again. And he didn't. But this wasn't the only time he was weirdly racist to me. This was my first time being in an interracial relationship, so I was led to believe that this was normal by all the white people around me at the time! Holy fuck! Oh my god. All my progressive, white, rainbow-haired friends told me it's normal. Look, just let them call you slurs. We're into that. The only way we can get hard is to call you slurs. All white people are racists. We have to call you slurs. But sometimes my Spanish accent would come out, and he would make fun of me and the way I pronounce some words. I'd like to admit that I am racist. I mimic my girlfriend's Australian accent. Often. Four. I can't actually do it, but I do it all the time. All the time. He also refused. And when she talks about Australia, and when we talk about going to Australia, or she talks about things that are in Australia, she slips into a more and more Australian accent, subconsciously, when she talks about Australia. He also refused to visit me in Puerto Rico when I lived there, or come meet my family when I really wanted him to, because he, quote, didn't like the heat, or, quote, it's dangerous there, isn't it? Once, while we were watching season 2 of Bridgerton, I don't know what that even is. I don't even know what that is. He implied that the Sharma sisters were too dark for him to be attracted to them. This hurt me because they are brown-skinned girls. I am a brown-skinned girl. Dude, brown people would never discuss skin tone. That never happens. Brown people never talk about degrees of skin tone. That is not a thing that ever happens. Then this, combined with the fact that he told me once he wasn't attracted to me, just break up. I feel like the person you're in a relationship with telling you they're not attracted to you. Done. 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 How do you come back from that? You don't. I've been watching Married at First Sight with my girlfriend. It's an Australian reality TV show where people are paired up and the first time they see each other is when they get married. And then it follows them doing tasks from week to week, and you see how they develop. There are people who have difficulty getting sexual or have difficulty building up that chemistry, and in that scenario for like a week or two, it's understandable that they might be awkward under pressure, but there are people who, 6 weeks into this, saying, yeah, I want this to work, I want to be married to this person, are saying that they're not attracted to their partner. Presumably, their partner doesn't turn them on, get them hard, whatever. Okay, it's over. Doesn't work. It's not everything, but it is a bare minimum requisite. And once you say it once, I think even if you don't mean it, saying that is a relationship killer. Because that is the kind of thing that's always going to be there in your head then. That is an absolute relationship annihilator. I could not imagine staying in a relationship where someone has said that to me. I cannot fucking imagine it. Made me feel like my skin color was unattractive. You got bigger problems than that. Sorry, you were okay with it except for the implication that it was to do with your skin color, or your inference that it was to do with your skin color. Otherwise, you would have been fine with a boyfriend who doesn't find you sexy or appealing in any way. Okay, you fucking freak. These are only a few examples I can think of at the moment, but I'm sure there were more. Okay, thanks. Our relationship ended in 2022, so some of my memory is a bit hazy. That's 2 years ago. 2 years ago for horrible racist abuse, I think you can remember. But I do remember feeling inferior to him throughout the relationship because he was white and I was not. Skill issue. I chalk that up to all the microaggressions I had to deal with because I had never felt that way around white people before. You can't say shit, Tim? What have I done? Oh shit, I wasn't joking. Memory issues. Look, if I had been racially abused in a relationship, I would remember, okay? I would remember. Like what though? Another thing I had to endure was him constantly making me feel like he was embarrassed to be with me. To be fair, you sound like you're embarrassing to be with. However, he should have broken up with you. Because I was cancelled, he didn't want to associate with me too much. Yeah, he's an online content creator dating someone who's been cancelled for saying a slur. That is a problem if he's concerned with his business. Right? Because I was cancelled, he didn't want to associate with me too much. He did defend me on multiple occasions, I'll give him that. But he only did it because his name was getting dragged in the mud along with mine. Right. You don't feel anything about that? If you're... So, I probably should have thought about this first. Who the fuck is this person? Is she also a YouTuber? Professional drama farmer, by the way. Look, I'm new to this. I'm just a small bean. Who the fuck is this chick? Andivmg, Andy Miranda. 2,300 subscribers. What? Twitcher. That's on YouTube. What is she on Twitch? 43.1k followers on Twitch. Okay, she's a Twitch lord. I gotcha. She is a Twitchoid. There we go. Alright. How are these people bigger than me? I don't rape enough people. I don't do the social climber hyper network thing, which I need to do more of, but I'll never do like sicko mode. I'll never do like Omerta fucking blood pact shit. I won't do like, hey, we need to work together and do this, blah, blah, blah. Just, I'll have my little Rolodex of people where I can be like, hey, this thing's happening. Want to do some like joint fucking coverage? Want to play a game? I will do that, don't worry. Alright. White boy said the B word. Excusing my actions made him look better for being around me. In reality, he didn't really care. Because he was such a big content creator and someone I looked up to professionally, I took his advice as law. He told me to tone down my personality, to keep a low profile, to change things about myself to be more palatable to his audience. Yes, he's trying to help you out of being fucking cancelled. Is that her? This is her. She's spicy white. She's not person of color. She's spicy white.
Oh God, I might chat that day.
No, you don't get to play these cards. You're spicy white. Stop it. As a brown girl, brown by the way. Fuck off. Neo-Nazis take control of America. They're sending death squads to kill all the black and brown people. She'd be safe. They would not touch her. The same audience that spoke about me like, the pussy can't be that good, Punz. Please stop defending her. So I changed a lot of things about myself and my content to better suit what his audience liked. Yes, this is for career purposes. You're doing a stream. You're streaming. Why that accent? I don't know, dude. Leave me alone. It just happened. If you can get away with being yourself more than not being yourself on stream, that's nice. That can be fun. That can be cool. If you're trying to get out of a hole where you're being called a fucking racist and you're being cancelled or whatever, yeah, and you just care about having a career that works, this advice is fine. He made me feel like if his audience liked me, he would be public about our relationship and stop hiding it. Okay. He told me the reason why he wanted to keep our relationship a secret was because he didn't want to get hate for it. But this wasn't true. Wait, am I losing it? Earlier it seemed like she theorized the reason he wanted to keep it secret was because of that, to protect himself. Now she says he said that was the case, and now she's saying it's not the case. I'm losing it. He decided that our relationship must be kept private. He said it was to protect me from his fan base, when in reality it was to protect himself. So she said he kept it private to protect himself. Now she says he said it was to protect himself. And now she says, but it's not true. One paragraph apart. One paragraph. On my 20th birthday, he went to Las Vegas for a Twitch Rivals event. That night, I asked to FaceTime him to say goodnight, and he refused because he was at a hotel room with his friends, and he didn't want them to know that we were together. It was as if my mere presence or the utterance of my name was a source of embarrassment for him. And he didn't let me forget it. It wasn't just a public thing at that point. He didn't want people to know we were together, period. It could fall back onto him still. This isn't evidence that it isn't him defending himself. This was devastating to me because I would talk to all my friends about him. I bet he loved that. To him, this is terrible. To you, what he's doing is terrible. To him, what you were doing is terrible. Good relationship. I was so proud to be with him. She's talked about looking up to him and how, yeah, because he was such a big content creator and someone I looked up to professionally, I took his advice as law. Yeah, like, this isn't bad. Proud. This makes it sound like he's a trophy boyfriend. That's trophy boyfriend stuff. Hey, Trey said it right when I was saying it. And I was just one more problem to him. He made me feel so small and insignificant just because his fans didn't like me. I was told all my life that women just understand social stuff better. I'm a fucking bald, autist gamer. I destroy these people at social interaction. Holy shit, how is this even possible? How are they this bad? He would berate me a lot. If you date a white guy, you become white. Bendelin, that is true, but it's only because the dandruff gets on you and actually creates a shell of whiteness. He would berate me a lot. Not just due to getting heat online, although he did do that a lot, but in general, whenever we would get into an argument or a disagreement, he would always call me names like annoying or weird or stupid. He would raise his voice at me if I did something he didn't like and call me an idiot. Okay, that's pretty mean. And that really hurt. I felt like I couldn't bring up anything or do anything without getting insulted. Yeah, that can be pretty bad. That could even go as far as being abusive, but can you get more specific? If I hadn't seen him in a few days because he was too busy streaming and I asked to hang out, he would call me needy, clingy, and annoying. Granted, he might not have been wrong. Ah! Spoilers. I'm not going to say it, but spoilers. I just saw it. Okay, but that is not something you say to someone you claim to love. He also insulted me when I was in depressive episodes. I have BPD, and at the time I was not being treated properly for it. Right. It's not a joke, by the way. When I say that, it's not a joke. However, she's talking about depressive episodes. Does she mean bipolar? Normally, BPD is borderline personality disorder. So, I was all over the place emotionally, and he was what I clung to for validation, reassurance, and love. Bipolar and borderline are different? Yes. Am I crazy? So, his behavior could be bad, but in a relationship with someone who's borderline, I start to trust what she's saying here a lot less. Especially when she's saying he might not have been wrong. There is no way she's providing an accurate picture of her side. There is absolutely no way. Right? I talked to him when we first started dating about my disorder, and told him that if it seemed like something he couldn't handle, that he could opt out of the relationship. You gave him permission to leave. So, this is manipulative. Folks, let me explain, in case people don't recognize why this is really bad. If she did this, oh nice, she said he could leave. He can leave whenever he wants. This is her saying, if you say yes, it's not fair game to leave because of this, later. That's the manipulation. That is the manipulation. Of course he can leave, whenever he wants. This is so that he feels like he can't later, not her giving him an out, actually. I guess he didn't think it was that bad or something. I don't know. Because whenever I had really bad depressive episodes, he would tell me I was too sad to hang out with. He said that my sadness was a burden to him, which would be fair, but once my mother had a conversation with him about me. She told him that I am someone who needs a lot of love and caring. She said that if he wasn't willing to put in that kind of effort into a relationship, to just leave me alone. Yes. Listen to the mother and leave. This guy should have absolutely left. He reassured her that he would be there for me no matter what. He told my mother that he would protect me and my heart. He did not. He took all the warnings I gave him and ignored them, and then made me feel like I was the problem. I don't believe you weren't being manipulative. And even worse, he would say that I was pretending to be sad to get his attention when he would neglect for days at a time. There were also some smaller things, like the fact that he made me feel really guilty whenever he would spend money on me. Okay. By doing what? You can't just say that and not explain why. Also, he would be really mean about my eating habits. For context, I used to suffer from an eating disorder. I was anorexic and had a really unhealthy relationship with food during high school and my first year of uni. This relationship began when I was recovering from my eating disorder. For me, eating was really hard, so I had certain comfort foods that, while sometimes unhealthy, at least it was something to eat when I didn't feel like eating anything. We're talking about junk food? Wait, is she an ex-anorexic whose safe foods to eat are junk food? That seems crazy, but I'm not a psychologist, so maybe that's a real thing. Maybe that's not weird. I would have imagined an anorexic struggling and having like super bare minimum stuff to eat. I don't know. Rather than being like, I'm ex-anorexic, my comfort food is fucking KFC. It's the only thing I can eat. He knew this, yet whenever I would crave some of these foods, he would call me fat. It is junk food. As an ex-anorexic who finds it hard to eat, the only shit she can eat is fucking garbage, high-calorie junk food. That seems really weird. Constantly told me I'd gain weight from eating all that junk food. Saying that to someone with an eating disorder is crazy. Right. But you sound crazy, and it sounds like you may have made up a story about having an eating disorder so that you can eat KFC all day. I don't know. She is skinny, though. You know what? Fair enough. Whatever. I'm not a psychologist. Let's leave that part. Other smaller things were that whenever I would post TikToks where I was lip-syncing or just looking good, he would yell at me and say I was looking for attention. I mean, you were, but still. Same with Instagram or Twitter. But, like, of course you were, because that's your job. That's your work. Same with Instagram or Twitter whenever I would post photos where I looked hot. He never planned out a single date for us. I would beg him to get me flowers. She's trying to say he was jealous. Right, and paranoid. And controlling. But she's failed to present that right. Sorry. I would beg him to get me flowers, and he did maybe once, but I'll get into that in a bit. Did you know not buying insanely expensive flowers is abuse? He would make fun of me in front of my friends to make himself look better. I feel like making fun of your girlfriend makes you look like shit. He let his friends say really degrading things about me in his presence. You break up at that point. He let his friends say really degrading things about me in his presence? You leave. You break up. For example, once when I was showering, I overheard him on a Discord call with George and Sapnap. Sorry, is this the George? And I heard George say, if you don't go in the shower and have sex with Andy, I will. Once when I was really struggling with my legs, for those of you who don't know, yeah, I'll tell you to have some fucking respect. You're not my friend anymore at that point, to be honest. I have arthritis and it's very painful. At the time I wasn't diagnosed, but I was in a lot of pain. I literally could not walk. I had to beg him to take me to the ER because I didn't know what was wrong with me. He didn't want to take me, but eventually I convinced him. And while we were there, all he did was complain about how long it was taking and that he would have rather been at home streaming. Whenever I would talk about my interests that I was excited about, like shows or books, he would be incredibly uninterested and say that those things were stupid and he didn't want to hear about them. Right, there's tons of stuff I'm super into that I know Lucky Bee wouldn't want to be spammed with, so I'll talk about them a bit sometimes. And not force them on her and focus more on things we're both interested in. Or if it's super important to me, I'll talk about it. But yeah, I'm not just going to be like, my girlfriend is abusive because she won't let me talk about fucking Dungeons and Dragons monster ecology for 10 hours a day. And listen to me in silence. No, shut up. I know all of these things seem very silly or superficial, but cumulatively, it was awful. This is called neuroticism. Now, for arguably the most serious thing I'm going to talk about. Let's go! I want to preface this by saying I am just telling my side of what happened. You can come to your own conclusions about this. That's weird to say. That's a very woman-coded statement. I feel like that's like a warning. That's like a warning! That's daring you to say she's lying. That's daring you. The desired response is, no, honey, no, it's true, it's right, yeah. On April 25th, 2022, it was our 1-year anniversary, and I had made a dinner reservation for us. I expected him to plan something throughout the day for us to do. He told me he was going to spend the whole day playing Valorant, so I got upset and cancelled the reservation. After a very heated argument, we calmed down, and I asked him to come over. He came over about an hour later with flowers and drinks. I was 20 at the time, so I couldn't buy the drinks myself. Uh-oh. So far, that is that's a pretty normal relationship thing, someone being inconsiderate. apologizing for being inconsiderate on an anniversary with flowers and stuff. So far, that's super normal. He brought Smirnoffs and Trulies. For context, I'm a lightweight. I always have been. I literally get tipsy on half a cocktail. And that day, I hadn't eaten anything because I was in distress over our argument. So we get to talking and drinking. I blacked out after my second Smirnoff. You would not get that out of me at a Russian black site. You would have Dragonov putting me in an arm lock and breaking every joint in my body. You would not get that out of me. Apparently, I drank 3, but I genuinely cannot remember anything after finishing the second one. What are we calling a Smirnoff? Shots of Smirnoff vodka? Or are we talking about an Alcopop? Do Smirnoffs do like pre-mixed? Did he get like a bottle of Smirnoff? Smirnoff Ice? Bro, when I was 14, I could drink a case of those and be okay. She's referring to it as a Smirnoff, right? So she means Smirnoff Ice. 3 Smirnoff Ice. Is a Smirnoff Ice even 1 unit? Hang on. I drink a big ol'... Once or twice a week, I drink a big ol' bottle of like 8 or 9% vintage cider. And that gets me a bit tipsy. Just enough to watch my drama with my girlfriend. Told me he was going to spend the whole day, blah, 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 blah. Apparently I drank 3, but I genuinely cannot remember anything after finishing the second one. Yeah, that's the thing. It's 4.5? 2, like, and they're like normal beer bottle size, right? 2 4.5, 2 beers blackout drunk. No, I don't fucking believe you. The next morning I woke up naked in my bed. I woke him up and asked him, Luke, why am I naked? And he said, because you didn't want to put your clothes back on. When I clarified to him that was not what I meant, he got defensive and said that he didn't realize how drunk I was. He proceeded to tell me that I initiated sex with him and that I was very enthusiastic about it. He said he didn't know I could black out on 3 Smirnoffs. She had 3 Smirnoffs, rode him, and is now trying to say he's a rapist. I'm sorry. If you are sober and a woman is blackout drunk, and she's fucking riding you, even though she's drunk and you're not, I don't think it's your responsibility to stop someone from having sex with you. I don't think not stopping someone from having sex with you is rape. I'm sorry. He made fun of me for being a lightweight and continued to make light of the situation. Then he mentioned that I fell off the bed at some point in the night and that it was funny how drunk I was. I then questioned him, because if he thought that me tripping and falling off the bed because I was so drunk was funny, how did he not know I was too drunk? He responded by saying that I fell off the bed only after we were done. That day, I broke up with him. I'm still really confused about what happened that night. I don't remember anything, and all I have to go on is what he said to me. So you could well have been... He said you initiated. You don't even know. You could have been doing fucking cowgirl, reverse cowgirl, anything like that. He could have just been lying there. Fuck off. We were in a relationship at the time, and he says he didn't know how drunk I was, so I'm not sure what to call what. Oh, I don't know what to call it. Maybe a little bit of rapey-wapey? Just gonna hint that I was mega raped. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I don't know. A while after that day, his friend that hit me up while we were broken up and I started talking again, and I confided in him about that night. He told me to be careful saying things like that because they could get me into trouble. That could be really bad. But maybe he's familiar with who you are and how you are, and is aware that you would say it insanely schizoli, like this. I spoke to some of our other friends about it, and they told me it was no big deal and that it wasn't his fault that he didn't know how drunk I really was. Because I don't remember, I've been led to believe that this is not a serious matter. You can think what you want, come to whatever conclusions you want. That is just my side of the story. Right. We all know what you're hinting at. We know what you're hinting at. I want to add that I'm not proud of how I acted after the relationship ended. I felt really angry at all the shit he put me through, and I guess a part of me wanted him to hurt even a quarter of how I did. So I started talking to his friend and got involved with him. This backfired on me because his friend ended up really hurting me too, so I guess I got my karma. But the thing that hurt the most is that because of what I did, some of our friends took his side in the breakup. I was told that I did something terrible by getting involved with his friend, and that he was already insecure about, and that he didn't deserve that. These are the same friends who were witness to the dumpster fire of a relationship we had, and all the things he did to me. Yeah, maybe his friend decided to fuck you over because of that even, you fucking idiot. They turned their backs on me because of this one thing I did, but stood by and watched as he treated me like garbage for over a year. I will conclude this by saying that while this relationship has been over and done with for almost 2 years now, I carry a lot of trauma from it still. I still talk about him in therapy and have had to put in a lot of work to heal from that trauma. I just want to quickly thank him for that. Nobody deserves to go through what I did. While yes, it was a toxic relationship and I had a part in that, it does not excuse all the awful things he said and did to me. This is my truth. Thank you for taking the time to read it. Again, have you noticed the pattern? Yeah. Pretty bad relationship, it sounds like. Maybe sexual assault that she doesn't even know whether it's sexual assault or not. And the guy says that she was active, as in she initiated sex. Maybe she even just rode him while drunk. Which, I'll say again, I don't know if that's rape by law. I don't think you should have to physically stop someone who's trying to fuck you to not be a rapist. If someone is trying to fuck you and you have sex with them just on the basis of you doing nothing, I don't think you're a rapist, even if they're wasted and you're not. I think that's being assaulted by a drunk person. Personally, call me a fucking MRA. Let me just return to something real quick, because I just want to show this again. So here's a tweet. Here's the tweet I showed you at the beginning from the guy being accused here. This is him responding to Wilbur's defense of himself. Saying you've been through therapy and are growing does not equal taking accountability. Downplaying your actions and discrediting the person you hurt, shameful. Our buddy Punz, he's defended himself. And he has to defend himself without discrediting the woman we just read the statement of. Good luck. Good luck, Punz. Let's see how you do. Difficulty, impossible. Although, does discrediting someone require that they started in good standing? Let's find the most common definition of discredit. To discredit someone, harm the good reputation of. Technically, if he damages this woman's reputation, he's not harming her good reputation because she doesn't have one. Okay, we've got the loophole. We've got the loophole. He can discredit her without being a hypocrite. Because I believe Shelby had a good rep, while this lady is known as the racist bean lady. Okay.
Igran donated £3. No, get off me. I'm not a rapist. Get off me. I don't want to rape, please. No.
Yeah. Please stop making me rape. Please. There was that case here where a woman got into a random bed while drunk or something, fucked the guy in that bed, and then accused him of rape because he wasn't who she thought he was. And she didn't get away with that shit here. It was at some university, I think. This is the defense of Punz by himself. I removed art from my profile in respect and by request of the artist. So he's got the BLM black ball. Let's go. Come on! I would like to start this off by saying that in no way do I intend to invalidate victims in this statement. Alright, you're a rapist then. Cool. Anyway, I unequivocally stand with victims of sexual assault. These are very serious allegations being brought against me. Allegations of who knows what. And I would like to treat them as such. I will directly be referring to statements with quotes from Andy's post regarding me. Background. This statement is giving more context to a relationship I had with Andy. There's a few main takeaways I feel are important. I felt, during and after processing our relationship, that Andy and I's personalities were incompatible. I imagine her personality is incompatible with almost every other human being on Earth. This caused a lot of clashing, constant arguments, and stress on both of us. I felt like, because of this, on both sides, it brought out the worst of us. I do not stand by all of my actions during this relationship. I feel as though they do not represent the person I am today. I hate this line, man. Stop it. Never say that again. I don't want to focus on small details as to not take away from my main points and defenses, but I would like to shed some light on some of her exaggerations and untrue allegations. That's called discrediting someone, by the way. As well as provide my perspective, so that you can see that this was not one-sided situations with me as a perpetrator and her as a victim, but how much of our relationship consisted of an extremely toxic dynamic with inexcusable behavior on both sides. So he's going for the suicide bomb strat? I'm inexcusable, but so is she. Okay, fair enough. Dubious consent. I'd like to start by addressing the night of April 25th as referred to in Andy's statement. Card posting could learn from this guy. Still too much blurb at the start. You get accused of rape or attempted rape. You have it heavily implied that you're a rapist. Number one thing you address. First, I'd like to start by addressing the night of April 25th as referred to in Andy's statement, while also bringing up context she talked about in her Tumblr post on February 27th, 2024. I'd like to tread carefully on this sensitive topic, but also stand firm on the fact that I did not and would not take advantage of anyone ever. Right. Why write this? Why are you telling us what you're trying to do with this? Just do that. I realize that this is all my word against hers, so I would like to explain my experience in the most concise way possible and let you form your own opinions. In the prior post, she mentioned something that did stand true, which was that there was a long period of time with zero intimacy that was because of myself. Yes. My lack of libido has followed me for many years. Here's the defense story. Okay. Corroborated somewhat by her, and thus caused issues in multiple relationships, even having me wondering if I am possibly asexual because I'm not meeting the standards of my partners. I'm saying this to further explain that in no way am I sexual or a horny person. I was not one to initiate sex often at all. Yeah, he's got boner problems. He's defending himself with boner problems, dude. I've always worked hard to validate and support past victims of sexual assault, including my own victims, including my own partners. Presumably not partners. Presumably they are not also your victims, I would hope. Oh, God. Which is why I'm asking you. Actually, did you know that a huge number of attempted rapists can't get it up? Did you know that that's actually a thing? Look it up. Which is why it's not fun reading. Which is why I'm asking you to understand my point of view in my recollection of the night of April 25th. Explicit warning, somewhat vivid depictions of a sexual encounter necessary for context. From the time that we began drinking to the time that we got in bed together, at least 3 hours had passed. In this time, she had no more than 3 drinks, so it's 3 Smirnoffs and a 3-hour wait, according to him. And I had approximately 5. To my memory, she had about 2.5 Smirnoff Ices. Andy says I said that he didn't realize how drunk I was, and I told her that she initiated sex with me and was very enthusiastic about it, and this was true. She got on top of me, straddled, and began making out with me. This was a routine way she would initiate our sexual encounters during our year-long relationship, so I sensed nothing out of the ordinary. At no point was she seeming dizzy, slurring her words, or at all incoherent during this time. I didn't think she was any more than tipsy. I'd been around her drinking before. I genuinely didn't think she had too many drinks, and I would have never initiated or continued having sex with her. Bro, don't be like, I would have stopped her. Don't imply that not stopping someone makes you guilty of something, or continued having sex with her if I had any idea that something was wrong. The next morning I woke up naked in my bed. I woke him up and asked him, Luke, why am I naked? And he said, because you didn't want to put your clothes back on. This statement Andy made is true. The tone of my response was sarcastic, coming from a place of genuine cluelessness. She regularly slept with little clothing on, and I had no idea she was fully naked, as I am not someone who touches my partners while sleeping. What the fuck? What? What do you mean, though? He's never even had this scenario. You wake up in the morning, and it's like time to get up, and your girlfriend's still asleep, and you like rubber butt, rubber leg, rubber back. Never? That's weird. I wasn't saying it matter-of-factly, but also didn't mean any harm by what I said. This is because, at no point during this conversation, or any of our later discussions for that matter, did I feel like she was accusing me of taking advantage of her. This situation was brought up between us in conversation after the fact, where she confirmed to me that she believed I wouldn't take advantage of her and that she trusts me. Anything I said to make light of the situation was not meant to dismiss her feelings. She did seem confused that she was not wearing clothes, but I didn't... She's doing psycho shit with him. I understand that for optics reasons he has to go soft. I would torch this bitch. I would torch this psycho bitch. Personally. But, hey, maybe that wouldn't work out too well. I also don't think I'd end up in this situation to begin with, so... But I didn't feel like she was even insinuating that I could have crossed a line. I've always been extremely cautious and understanding of her experience every time we were intimate. And to Andy, with everything I've said, I still don't mean to invalidate your experience. You do not deserve to go through life not knowing what happened that night. Hey, now she does. You've told her. Body heat and sweat is gross. Oh, I don't like sleep too cuddled up with my girlfriend. To actually sleep wrapped up with her. She tries to do that with me, but I have to like be touching her but not fully on. If I'm fully on her, I get so hot I fucking can't sleep. I'm so hot. It's unbelievable how fucking hot I am. I like high temperature individual. You do not deserve to go through life not knowing what happened that night. I am sorry that I came off as being unserious to a very serious matter. I really hope that you still believe that I did not and never would take advantage of you in the slightest. Hiding the relationship. Another thing I had to endure was him constantly making me feel like he was embarrassed to be with me. So, like, we got the biggest thing out of the way first. That's real good. That's real good. Another thing I had to endure was him constantly making me feel like he was embarrassed to be with me because I was cancelled. He didn't want to associate with me too much. While Andy may have felt that I was embarrassed to be with her, this is not at all how I viewed our relationship. We began speaking and dating while long distance and very early on into us talking. I made it very clear that if we were to pursue a relationship together, it would have to be private for the unforeseeable future. This was something she agreed to in order to move forward. Her being cancelled was not at all why we were in public. At the time, I was growing exponentially online and couldn't predict the actions of fans. I looked for guidance from peers often and was advised that keeping my romantic relationships private would be better for everyone. Yeah. Although it may have negatively affected her or us, I genuinely didn't think that's legitimately just responsible. Okay. Although it may have negatively affected her or us, I genuinely didn't think it would ever be safe to be public with her. And that is not only for my sake, but hers as well. I do realize this may have caused distress or felt unfair to her, and I never intended for that. After seeing how awful fans treated her without confirmation of us, I only assumed it would worsen if I publicized it. She mentioned I did defend her on multiple occasions, which is true. I stood behind her even when it hurt my reputation. Oh, here we go. You never want to be writing a big old post about yourself and then have a heading be racism in bold. I feel like that is an unfortunate situation to be in, right? Racism. The background for anyone who isn't aware is that Andy said the B slur publicly and received a lot of backlash online for it. Bean, E-R. I presume I cannot say it on Twitch. This was during our relationship. While we were in the car talking about the situation, I made an idiotic comment where I said, I mean, you are a bean man, aren't you? In which I said the word once, not twice, as Andy refers to in her statement. This comment came from a place of genuine education, as I was confused as to why people were offended. I thought it was a slur referring to any Hispanic person, and I wrongly assumed that she could reclaim it as a Puerto Rican. Let's go! It's race science time! After this was said, I could instantly tell that Andy was not okay with it. I apologized profusely and felt extremely guilty for saying it. I realize now that my girlfriend was in fact a spicy white. I was completely remorseful and not at all smiling or laughing at her reaction. This was still an extremely stupid mistake on my part, and in no way did I mean to offend her. I was in the process of writing my apology, and he just said that. It was after this situation in the car that I helped Andy write her public apology. I did not say this while she was writing it. My little bean man. This part is just a straight lie. I did not say that. While I realize that this is a word I cannot and should never have said, it was not said in the context or with those words, Andy claims. Very well. I wholeheartedly am sorry for ever letting this word come out of my mouth. I can assure you that I have never ever said it again. I apologize to anyone who feels let down or has lost trust in me after hearing this. He also refused to visit me in Puerto Rico when I lived there. I did refuse to visit her in Puerto Rico, and in all honesty, this was for completely selfish reasons. I wanted to stream consistently, and this was the peak of my career. This was another instance of me being a bad boyfriend, but it was not for any other reason she may suggest. He implied that the Sharma sisters were too dark for him to be attracted to them. We were watching Bridgerton, and Andy asked me if I found these actresses to be attractive. It was a trap, dude! It was a trap. I figured as she was my girlfriend, the best response would be to say that I was not attracted to them and that they were not my type. My intention was literally to reassure her that she is the person I'm attracted to, not to imply they are too dark. Then this, combined with the fact that he told me once he wasn't attracted to me, made me feel like my skin color wasn't attractive. All I wanted during my Bridgerton answer was to reassure Andy that she was the only person I was attracted to. This was completely unrelated to something I said to her when we were breaking up. Andy, you made it sound like that happened during the relationship that then continued on for some time. I thought it would be absurd for a relationship to continue. And it was, because that was occurring when you were breaking up. You know what? I would tend to believe that a hell of a lot more, because it makes more sense. I have never said to Andy that her skin color was too dark or unattractive. Like, how would you? If her skin color is too dark for you, you can only date powder. You can only date Shaun White if her skin is too dark for you. In Andy's Tumblr post from February 27th, 2024, she references herself and a friend of mine who hit her up. My preface is that with friend A, Andy had flirtatious interactions before, during, and after our romantic relationship. This is a much larger creator than myself and someone I was closely associated with at the time. Oh boy. She says, there was some flirtation going on, but nothing serious. I was still in love with one. So this is from her other original post, where he's referred to as one. I was in desperate need for attention, and his buddy was there to provide it. Does she know? She's torturing herself so badly, I'm surprised her post wasn't just Free Palestine, Free Palestine, Free Palestine. Her interactions with this person were one of the largest contributors to my lack of trust, and many of our arguments in the future. Andy initially messaged friend A before her and I were dating with a flirtatious message with a desire to make content with him. Months into our relationship and after I had already moved to Florida and essentially gotten more serious with Andy, I was in a Discord call with friend A, and this friend decided to tell me that Andy had DM'd him before but refused to disclose what she had sent to him, and she deleted her messages on her end. When I confronted Andy, she continuously said she couldn't recall what she sent or even what it could potentially be about. These fucking hoes! Our relationship was extremely rocky and we broke up numerous times, so I'm not sure if we were dating or technically on an exclusive break. But during one of these times is when Andy and friend A were flirting. So even on a break, you were agreeing to be exclusive still. Okay. But during one of these times is when Andy and friend A were flirting and simultaneously talking poorly about me. Quote, poked fun at the fact that he broke up with me but got mad at someone else paying attention to me. She did show me messages during this time, but I distinctly remember there being missing context and areas where the conversation didn't line up, and she would intentionally hide certain things they talked about from me. I would suggest there was more, and with more provoking, she would eventually admit it and show me some of what she was hiding. This happened multiple times, and the more she showed me, the worse it got. She reassured me multiple times that there was nothing romantic between them. She wanted to be with me. I think it's time to reread a little bit of what Andy said. There was an interesting word choice I picked up on, and a fear of hers. Do you remember a fear of hers? Aside from everything I said there were a lot of things I didn't include, because they would have made it obvious that it was him, and it could potentially backfire on me. I guess now we have some kind of understanding of what she was potentially afraid of. It happened multiple times, and the more she showed me, the worse it got. She reassured me multiple times that there was nothing romantic between them, and that she wanted to be with me. The next day, he called me, and we were basically back together again. However, this time, I was meant to earn his affection. Because I did something so unforgivable and atrocious, he was basically in the clear to treat me like shit. So that's from the first post. Maybe we should have read it, but hey, he's pulling out the good bits, alright. If you could even possibly understand who friend A was to me, then maybe it would make sense why I was so emotionally distraught. Like I've said, I am aware there were instances where I acted like a poor boyfriend, but this was amidst the biggest betrayal of my life. I couldn't tell if she was using him to hurt me, she actually wanted to be with him more, or both. I questioned everything. Moving on, friend B! Let's go, okay. Holy shit. Mine cuck. Moving on to a couple months after our breakup, there was a situation. Oh, so friend B is someone else. Friend B is the one after the relationship ended that she did mention. Moving on to a couple months after our breakup, there was a situation where both Andy and I were invited to the same gathering with friends. At this point, things were somewhat civil, and we had the same mutual friends. On an outing, Andy is looking over at my phone asking who am I talking to. I tell her the person who is someone I later go on to have a relationship with. She proceeds to list off... These people all are fucking weirdos, man. She proceeds to list off 3 to 4 people she was Snapchatting, and then says, "You're not gonna like the last person," and then proceeds to say friend A. This was the moment that I decided I could not be civil with or associated with her any longer. There was no reason for her to even need to tell me they were talking, but I can only imagine it was intentional to hurt me. I later learned that our mutual friends had been aware this was happening with friend A, as Andy told them, and they advised her to stop talking to this person and that it was wrong. But she did not care. Her and friend A pursued each other well after it ended with us, which she admits herself she did intentionally, to hurt even a quarter of how she did. Issues regarding this person had come up so many times by her own free will that I genuinely felt like she was doing it on purpose. She wanted to make sure I knew they were talking, and what they were talking about, and that I was hurt by what she was doing. Friend B. Another key point in our relationship that resulted in a lot of frustration and insecurity on my part came from Andy's interactions with another one of my good friends who has a larger platform than myself. From my knowledge, this friend didn't tell me about it until after Andy and I were together, because we began speaking privately and he didn't know. Prior to our relationship, Andy and friend B were mutually flirting to the point where she sent him explicit photos. This is something Andy flat out denied to me when I asked her, but friend B told me happened. Later in 2021, well, you know how you fix this? Okay, the photos don't exist. Andy, could you give friend B permission to show any photos he has to me? If they don't exist, he can't do it. So there's no reason to not say yes, unless they do exist. Later in 2021, there was a time where a large group, including myself, Andy and friend B, were together. I felt like Andy was ignoring me and spending much of her time talking to and interacting with this friend, to the point where many of the other friends there found it to be odd and spoke about it amongst themselves and later with me. One person there even said, "It seems like Andy is all over friend B." You think friend B would say got nothing? Well, friend B was claiming to have him. You think they'd go back and say, I'm joking? When I brought it up to her that day, she completely denied that it was even happening. Friend B could have also been lying. This is just one concrete instance where I felt like she gaslit me into believing that she did nothing wrong, and I was being crazy and overprotective. Her insincere apology many days afterwards felt like an I'm sorry you think that and not an admission of wrongdoing. Just break up. Dude. Like, this is shitty, but it gets to a point with him as well where it's just break up. Just break up. This was not just a friend either. This was someone she had a recent past of flirting with. It was now the second big instance that changed my perspective for the entire future of our relationship. With a confused conclusion in my head that she may have wanted my friends or other creators more than me. Shouldn't have been confused, she obviously does. Or that she settled with me because I was willing to be with her. This is absolutely 100% what occurred. Sorry to have to say it, brother. This made it extremely difficult to trust her and her intentions for the future of our relationship. I feel like there were a lot of instances Andy mentioned where I can agree that I was dismissive and acting like a bad boy. While I do realize these experiences have hurt her, there are many situations that she is intentionally not including or downplaying her wrongdoings to further villainize me. I don't believe most of my actions came out of nowhere. We argued constantly. Mental health! Let's go. Let's go. This is going to be a big one. I'm aware that I made some invalidating comments towards Andy's mental health during the course of our relationship. Overall, as she states, she has BPD, and I was her favorite person. When she told me about her disorder, I had no prior knowledge or experience with someone who has, thank you for spelling it out, borderline personality disorder. I felt like I was in love with her and willing to support her in all the ways I could. Obviously, over time, the needs she had put a lot of stress on me that I hadn't expected. He would call me needy, clingy, and say that he was trying his best, but that I needed too much, that I was too much. I'm completely aware of how hurtful it must have felt to Andy, that I was her favorite person and I essentially couldn't handle being what she needed. I definitely told her at times that I couldn't give her what she needed. But I wish I hadn't put so much of that blame on her, and I'm sorry for that. At times, she experienced mental health crises that I felt alone and unequipped for, and I didn't know where to turn. Favorite person is BPD lingo. I'm going to look this up because this feels important to know, because she didn't bring that up. Typing in favorite person brings up favorite person BPD as a recommended. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, this is weird, dude. So, this is from a paper called Understanding a Mutually Destructive Relationship Between Individuals with Borderline Personality Disorder and Their Favorite Person. Oh, wait, this is perfect. We're going to take a definition of favorite person from this. Favorite person in the borderline personality disorder community. Favorite person has a unique meaning in the BPD community. That's not good. That's not good. A favorite person is a person who someone with BPD relies heavily on for emotional support, seeks attention and validation from, and looks up to or idealizes. When referred to as a favorite person, it goes beyond what other people would generally refer to as their best friend or favorite person. FPs are the object of complete attachment and extreme love from people with BPD. Therefore, those with BPD feel unable to function properly without their FP and fear that their FP will abandon them. Quote, while a best friend can be an FP, it's usually so much more than that. A favorite person is someone you have an emotional dependence on who can make or break your day. See, I was saying, sure, what he said seems like it could be nasty, but perhaps she's excluding how heavy the expectations were on him. Yes, you place the responsibility of your happiness on them. They can make you feel on top of the world or in the deepest pit depending on whether they are paying attention to you or not. Quote from that article is, the only thing is it feels so much like I love him. I keep telling myself how I feel for my FP isn't real. But hell does it feel like it is? It's a very confusing place to be in. Wait, so the favorite person thing is like a delusion? I'm completely aware how hurtful it must have felt to Andy that I was her favorite person. Oh, God. So yes, BPD, he was the favorite person. Here's some advice. 5 things to know if you're the favorite person of someone with borderline. It's not really your choice. And to be fair, it isn't the other person's choice either. You can't force yourself to be someone's favorite person, and it takes a lot for someone to suddenly stop seeing you as their FP. It'll just suddenly happen as your relationship grows. They may grow to depend on you more, but at the end of the day, you don't really decide this, and neither does the other person. Big ol' nightmare. Big ol' gigantic horrifying nightmare. Let's go. Let's go. Right, I definitely told her at times I couldn't give her what she needed, but I wish I hadn't put so much of that blame on her, and I'm sorry for that. No, she had insane expectations for you, it sounds like. At times, she experienced mental health crises that I felt alone and unequipped for. She didn't want me to tell anyone, including her family, and I didn't want to betray her trust. This was a person I cared about very much and was struggling so much I don't think I was fully aware that I couldn't help her. In no way do I mean to demonize BPD. Don't really have to. I'm sure I said awfully invalidating things to Andy when she needed me most, and I don't mean to victimize myself. I just want to be clear that this was a recurring struggle that affected both our lives and, in turn, our relationship as a whole. Yes, the Minecraft thing is literal. These are all Minecraft content creators. Alright. Further context. Quote, for example, once when I was showering, I overheard him on a Discord call with George and Sapnap, and I heard George say, "If you don't go in the shower and have sex with Andy, I will." Now, if friend A is George, this is in an extremely different light. I was on my phone and Andy knew they could hear, and she was suggesting I should come do sexual things with her in the shower. I obviously did not, and this is when George said what he did. I did not stand by when George made this comment. I immediately called him out. To further back this up, Andy did not hear this comment herself as she was already in the shower. I told her what he said myself after she was done because it didn't sit right with me. That is cancerous of her, if this is true. That makes what she said unbelievably cancerous. I was recovering from my ED, eating disorder, I remember. Whenever I would crave some of these foods, he would call me fat. I feel as though the entirety of her claims of me calling her fat are heavily exaggerated, and not at all how it happened. Andy did have comfort foods that we would often eat together. I have never called her fat or said that she's going to gain weight from her eating habits. The most insensitive comment I ever made regarding weight, which I meant jokingly, was along the lines of, "OMG, we're so fat for eating this," after a big meal. I completely understand how this could have hurt her feelings or been a trigger for her, and I feel extremely bad that this type of stupid joke I made hurt her. Right, in general, quote, in general, whenever he would get into an argument or a disagreement, he would always call me names like annoying or weird or stupid. He would raise his voice at me if I did something he didn't like. All I'll add to this is that our relationship felt toxic and full of arguments. It does not excuse my actions, but she did just as much name-calling and voice-raising as I did. We fought a lot. I'm not proud of the boyfriend I was to Andy. But I also feel the relationship was never stable or healthy. Overall, my experience with Andy was a year-plus on and off relationship with a lot of complexities. This sounds like a review. I give it 3 out of 10. Overall, my experience with Andy was a year-plus on and off relationship with a lot of complexities, as most relationships have. Not like these. Not like these. Okay. I'm including a screenshot, which is my last and only interaction with Andy since July 2022, and it is one I did not respond to. While I understand she may have trauma and a negative experience after our relationship was something that very heavily negatively impacted both of us and in where we both hurt each other. This is the first I'm hearing of most of her claims listed here. It's taken me a while to collect my thoughts and give the best response possible. If you at least hear me out, then thank you. Regardless, I'm sorry for the way I treated you and the damage I may have caused. Nah, she was already a broken hoe, don't worry. I hope that you can heal from your experiences and that you feel okay again one day. Permanent brain damage from 3 from 3 Bacardi Breezers. From 3 Smirnoff Ices. Right, here's what she says. I know you probably won't read this or care about anything I have to say to you, because let's be for real, you probably hate me. Justifiably so, but I've been thinking about you a lot recently, and I hate how everything went down. I know it's all my fault, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm really sorry for all the things I did and said. I don't expect you to respond to this, and you shouldn't feel obligated to, but yeah, I hope you're doing okay and that you're happy and healthy because it's what you deserve. Thank you for taking accountability. Thank you for taking accountability. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut your fucking mouth. Does it? Yeah, that's the thing, Hex. What do they mean? When people are like, you need to take accountability, do they think that just means reply? When people are swarming someone and they're going, take accountability, have we misunderstood? And they think it means destroy that bitch. Is that what it means?